Hello, hello, beautiful people. We are recording this live stream today, and I am just looking very much forward to see who is going to show up live. And then I'm also going to post this on my wall and a couple of groups that a lot of you belong to. Thank you so much for being here today. Whoever is going to join us here today and whoever is going to watch this later on. So happy to be here with you. It is a joy. It is a pleasure to be here together on a beautiful Friday evening. I hope you had a wonderful week. And happy Memorial Day, everybody. This is a very special weekend, and we get to honor our ancestors. We get to honor the people who served this country and who have served in the world. So blessed be for everybody and for the service they are giving. I am here on personal behalf as well, because of course we're all working on our own issues and our own goals. So I'm also treating myself today with this meeting, and I'm going to be working alongside you all as we are going through the topic that I have prepared for today, which is all about resilience. So I'm super excited that we are going to talk about this very, very important topic that is on a lot of people's minds. It's actually becoming quite a buzzword, especially in the business world. People are waking up to it. I started writing a book about it 2 years ago. It's been in development for quite some time. It's in the editing process. It should be coming out in the next few months. I had to put it on hold for a while in doing more research, in digging deeper, gathering more stories, doing my own processes. And so it's been definitely a work in progress, and it's been on my mind quite a bit. It started out with COVID, the pandemic, thinking about that resilience is becoming a major resource that we need to tap more into. And that's why it's my joy and my pleasure that I'm presenting some of that material to you today. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. As people are joining us, we are going to talk about resilience, what it is, how we can use it, and then especially how we can actually use the law of attraction principles with resilience, because there are some very special skills that the law of attraction is offering us that we can use specifically to increase our own resilience and how we deal, how we adapt with life. Okay. So when you think about it, that it's all about energy ultimately, right? That's always my message. It's about the energy that we're sending out into the universe, into the world. It's the energy that we're getting back. There is a match between the two. And the more we raise our vibration and our energy frequency through practices of gratitude, of being in a place of calmness, peace of mind, trust, understanding, compassion, hopefulness, and then sending out that kind of energy, of course, we're going to attract more things back to us that match that very specific frequency. And so that's ultimately what my message is, that we can manage that energy flow. We have the choice to say, you know what, I'm going to monitor my thought patterns, I'm going to monitor my feeling state. And by then using specific strategies, I can change my thought patterns when they're not working for me, when I'm in a downward spiral in my thought patterns, because for whatever reason, I'm not as happy as I would like to be. I'm not as trusting as I would like to be. And then we are not sending out the right energy to attract what it is that we want. Then we have the choice to actually change that and to adjust it to a higher frequency so that we become congruent again in sending out that which we would like to attract. When you think about resilience, where do you need more resilience in your life? Where do I need more resilience in my life? For example, when it comes to in managing myself, when it comes to my health, for example, or when it comes to my relationships, when it comes to finances, when it comes to my business and my lifestyle choices. There are certain things that I'm doing that I'm not totally happy with. Let's say it like that. And that I would like to enhance, that I would like to get better at. And that's, for example, where I would like to use it in my own life, in simply maintaining a higher level of energy than what I'm currently doing, to then bounce back easier when things are happening. So one of the things that I, for example, struggle with is I'm doing a lot of work around healing my past. And for example, so I'm going to get really honest here and really open about it, that I just did a disc profile. And one of the things that came out of it is, for example, that public perception of me is extremely important to me. And I can definitely identify with that because I grew up with the what do the neighbors think and what do other people think about me. And I realized that over time, I actually made choices in my life where I devalued my own value system and I went against my own values just to please other people and to be perceived in a certain way in public so that I would look good or I wouldn't get criticized or I wouldn't get shamed or whatever, or that people didn't like me. And that is a very wound point for me. And that is something that I've really been working on over the last 4 or 5 years. I know we all have been doing a lot of internal work through the pandemic because that was a huge cut into our everyday life experience and how we perceive life and the flow of life. And that's just the way it is. A lot of things have happened since on a global scale, and there is a lot of stuff going on that we're all dealing with collectively, which then, of course, influences us also individually. So one of the things that I'm working on a lot is that authenticity and truly being myself, standing up for myself, being myself truly to my values, and then expressing that in all of my relationships, in my business, and everybody I'm coming in contact with. And so that's been quite a journey over those last few years. And that's, for example, why I also stepped away from my business and from social media for 4 months, which has been absolutely wonderful. I did some great traveling, had some very dear time with family members, and also just being there in my community and growing and healing myself. And so that's the kind of stuff that I'm personally dealing with. And as I'm sharing those examples with you, I would like for you to ask yourself, where are some of those points that you've been working on? Where have you been growing? Where have you been embracing your hero, your inner hero on a higher level and being more authentic with yourself, more true to your values? And again, I'm saying those 5 areas again. It's your personal health and well-being. And that means physically as well as spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. It's about your relationships, personally and professionally. Think about your current family system that you have created for yourself. Think about your ancestors, your biological family. Then think about your community that you're part of, the different areas in your community that you're tapping into. Some of it might be sports, music, any kind of social engagements, church, whatever activities you're participating in your community. And that can be online as well as offline. And then also think about your finances. Think about your abundance, the level of abundance that you currently have and what you would like to achieve. And then think about your career. Tap into your career, your legacy, for those of you who are already in retirement age. And then your general lifestyle choices. The time that you spend with yourself and with others, the things that you do, the things that you create, that you experience. So those are the 5 areas that I like to look at in general when I'm looking at my life and I'm taking stock in where am I at, what are my goals, how am I doing, am I moving forward, and then to have a balance in all of them. So when you now think about your resilience, how able you are to bounce back. So what I just shared with you, the example was ultimately about my own mental and emotional health, in the way I perceive myself, in the way I perceive other people, the world, how I interact with the world. And that is very important to me because I know that ultimately that is going to influence all the other areas that I'm dealing with as well. So think about that for yourself. Is it your health and well-being? Is it your relationships personally and professionally, your finances, your abundance, your career, your legacy that you want to leave behind, and your lifestyle choices? And where do you feel you need to become more resilient? Which area jumps out quickly to you as you're thinking about it, that you would like to enhance, that you would like to influence a little bit, learn a little bit about, and get better at? Okay? So as you're thinking about that, I would like for you to set an intent right now. So I set my intent that in dedicating my time here today, that I'm going to get some wonderful information and some insights as I'm sharing information with you all and we're processing together, that is going to enable me to take the next steps on my journey. And I'm going to make it easier on myself. That's always something I'm after, to make life easy, enjoyable, even when we have hardship, even when we're learning things, even when we're dealing with unpleasant circumstances, we can still have the choice. And that's actually one of the posts that I did in the invitation is, do we really have to suffer in order to grow? And my answer is no. We do not have to suffer. We can do it gracefully. We can do it peacefully and calmly, with serenity, with kindness, with compassion for ourselves and others and from others, and with a connection with our divine self, our higher self. And that is ultimately the hypothesis that I would like to post today, that we can do it more with ease and grace than most of us give us credit for. So that's what I want out of today. And that is why I'm doing this seminar, for example, today, because that is one of those ways that I can move forward with ease and grace instead of creating dramatic circumstances for myself. So set your intent as well. Perhaps it's curiosity, perhaps it's about gathering some information, perhaps there's something that you would like to let go of, something that you would like to forgive yourself or others, something that you would like to change. So just send your intent out into the universe right now. I'm here today to fill in the blank. Take a few deep breaths and just state that to yourself. My intent for being here today is. Very nice. Excellent. And of course, when you're watching the recording, you can stop it at any time. Take your time. I'm a huge note taker, love note taking, and I encourage you to also do the same. Okay, so I will watch this myself later and then I will take notes. Let's see what other insights I might be getting by just listening to it and then doing my own processing as well. So, okay, so the first step, I'm offering you three very specific steps today that we're going to do together in our time. We have 1 hour together that we are going to explore in order to help us with gaining more resilience, okay? Using law of attraction principles. So it's about the energy that you're sending out, and energy is comprised of the thoughts that we're sending out, the things that we're saying in our head, the pictures we're making in our head, our breathing patterns, the way we're moving our body. All of those components are what we call thinking. Your thinking is what goes on in your head and the energy that you're sending out with your brain. The pictures you're making, the sounds that you're making, and the physical activities that you're doing, including breathing and body actions. And then there is the heart, the feeling that you have. So if I send out an intention in my mind of, I would like to create XYZ, and my heart in the meantime says, yeah, but you're too old, you don't have the education, you can't do this, you're too dumb, you don't have what it takes, the world is bad anyway, it's not going to work anyway. I'm sending out a mix of messages. I'm not congruent. I'm not aligned between what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. So you want to make sure that you are getting into that feeling state. See, for most people, it's pretty easy to use affirmations and then saying them and repeating them. And, I am who I am and I'm creating a beautiful life for myself and everybody loves me and everything is cool and everything's just going to get better and better and better. So yes, we are very used to sending out affirmations and we're writing them down and we're doing gratitude journals and all that stuff. Where I see most people actually struggle is what's going on in the heart. It's the feeling state, because there is still this underlying feeling of, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it, it's not possible, I can't do it. Those are the 4 usual underlying beliefs. When you really boil down all of the beliefs that you have that are negative and don't serve you, that they ultimately boil down to, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it, it's not possible, I can't do it. Does that resonate a little bit, perhaps? So that's what we need to change. So we need to start changing our internal dialogue. And what science has proven is that once you start affirming different things over and over and over again, and you really make that a habit, that you will, over time, change your feeling state. And I can absolutely attest to that because I've done it in my own life, where there were things that I absolutely used to believe about my worthiness and my deservingness and what's possible or not possible and what I couldn't or could do. And then through using very specific affirmations that I do deserve a good life, I have value, I bring value to the world, I can create the things that are important to me as much as I set my mind to it. I can create whatever I want as long as I'm passionate about it and I do the footwork. So those are beliefs that I have been implanting in my brain over the last few years. And of course, ever since I started NLP in the 90s, which by the way, it's going to be 30 years in October that I started that journey. And and of course, we're always growing. We're growing, then we're plateauing, then we grow again, and we plateau again, and we grow again, and we plateau some more. So now it's a growth phase again. I always love to say I got my student hat on again. And so now I'm digging even deeper than I used to. And of course, it's an age thing as well, that now I'm looking at different issues than I did when I was 30 or 40. Now that I'm 57 years old, I look at my world differently again. And I'm looking into the future differently than I did before. Now I'm a grandmother. Things are changing. I'm dealing with different issues. I'm dealing with different relationship items and all that. And there's also things going on in my life that I want to be a resource for and be there for others in a way that is appropriate now that wasn't needed 10, 20, 30 years ago. So with all that being said, the affirmations that you can use, that you repeat in your mind, that you want to imprint in your mind so that they can go into your heart, need to be about your deservingness, the value you hold and bring, and also that it's possible. You have to believe that it's possible what you want to achieve and that you deserve it and that you can do it, that you have the internal resource to do it. So what's the most important resource that you need right now? Is it trust, perhaps? Is it confidence, perhaps? Let's just go there for a minute. So when you think about it, that you perhaps might need more trust. Think of a time in your life when you were very trusting. And one of my personal favorite examples I like to bring up in that moment is when I moved to America, because that took a lot of trust, that took a lot of confidence. Another one is for our high school graduation. I actually stepped up on stage and I had a feather boa on and I sang a song with someone who accompanied me on the piano. And that took a lot of trust and confidence to do. Another one is that I accepted the first invitation when I went to China, not knowing the language, not knowing how to read the signs or how to communicate with people. It was just so strange and foreign to me. And I was really scared how I was even able to find my hotel or anything. And I did the same thing just now when I went a couple of months ago. I went back in April. And I was really scared. I remember I'm like, oh, who knows how much it's changed since COVID? And how am I going to get to the hotel? Am I going to be able to get the taxi? And then there's always this thing about getting the visa and the flights and everything. I was really scared. And I remember looking for reasons to cancel the trip. Even so, I had a full on invitation by my sponsor, come visit us. And I was looking for reasons not to go. And then I asked myself, why is that? It's like, because you're afraid. Because you're afraid right now. You need resilience. You need to be able to bounce back and you got this. You know exactly how to do this, that you're going to find the taxi stand and how to negotiate with the driver, where the hotel is. You can prepare it. You have the resources, all the translation apps that we now have. It's amazing. The internet connections and all that stuff that we didn't have 15 years ago, perhaps. And so I remember proactively activating my confidence and my trust by thinking of examples in the past when I had access to it, when I needed it, and it was there for me. And that's how our brain works. The brain is a library of all the things you've ever done. Imagine that. And not just you, you actually have access to everything that's ever happened in the whole universe when you really believe in that and that you can tap into it. Some people, they call it the Akashic records. In hypnosis, we call it the superconscious. There is the quantum field, of course. So there is everything that you ever need is available to you. So you can tap into your own resources, or you can model other people. I can model other people who have been world travelers and who went into areas they had never explored, and they did it adventurously. So Jane Goodall, for example, keeps popping up. I saw a book from her coming up, and then funny enough, I walked into my granddaughter's room and there was a Jane Goodall book. I'm like, seriously? So she must obviously be a great resource for me right now, because I was just thinking about her and then she showed up. And then another fantastic person who just showed up, and she'd sent me a text today, and I literally had her in my dream last night. She showed up in my dream last night, and she's an old mentor of mine from 30 years ago. And I was actually going to reach out to her to tell her about my dream. And then I got a text from her this morning. I'm like, seriously? So trust yourself. And there are people in your life that have already done what you want to do and that are resilient and that have bounced back. And some of them might have bounced back from pretty horrible circumstances. So you can look in your own past, or you can look in the past of other people to resource yourself with the kind of thought patterns that are going to enable you to bounce back easier. I'm very adaptable. I bounce back easily. I am naturally resilient. Imagine that being your MO. Imagine that being your natural mode of operation, that is one of those default thoughts and beliefs that you have about yourself. Beliefs are just thoughts we think constantly. Those are persistent, deeply neurologically imprinted thought patterns that are very easy to come up in those moments of need, in those moments of stress, that you can instantly think, all is well, I got this, I can handle this, I'm resilient, I easily bounce back, and I have many, many examples in my life that prove me right, that I know I can do this. So one of those exercises I would like to give you as an example, as an invitation, if you choose to accept the invitation, is that you actually sit down and write a list of experiences where you were very resilient, where you bounced back. And it might have been in the realm of your health. It might have been in the realm of your relationships, your finances, your career, or your lifestyle. Come up with at least 10 items. Okay, so that's one of those assignments, if you choose, that you can do afterwards. And then it's about rehearsing those. So you might actually put up a list for yourself that you then can look at. You might write a couple of belief statements that you put in your journal, that you put on your phone, that you put on your screensaver, that you put around you somehow, you know, the famous that put some post-it notes on your mirror. So when you brush your teeth, you're looking at the messages, and then you rehearse them. And you rehearse them until they become normal and until they move into your heart, so that your feeling state naturally represents the matching vibration to those thoughts, and that you can trust that. And then you find yourself going, oh, wow, it's a month later or 2 months later. And you know what? I haven't had that thought in a while. Or, wow, I've been having so much peace in my heart lately. Or, you know what? I've been more trusting with people. And you know what? I'm getting some really nice responses back. Or, I'm feeling so much more confident than a few months ago. It's going to naturally happen as you practice it, like every other skill. I hung out with my incredibly wonderful 2 years and 4 months granddaughter. That kid talks up a storm. We cooked together, we did ballet session together, she did puzzles, And then we ate together, and that kid talked the whole time. It was hilarious. And it was adorable. And now that we're doing ballet together, it's unicorn ballet, by the way, and you can find it on YouTube. It's absolutely adorable. And I'm watching her as she's now learning to raise her arms. And she does the plie and she does the little, where she bends her knees and all that. It's so cute. And I watched her from the first time a couple of weeks ago when we started this program, how she was to now. Or when she took those puzzles that she did today. And some of those puzzles she hadn't done before. And she was amazing. And the whole time she's like, this is a blue piece, this is a red piece. And she's putting it together, and there's a butterfly, and there's a ducky duck, and the ducky flies, and the ducky goes in the water. And I'm like, oh my God, that kid is barely 2 years old. What a trip. And just to watch learning. And we're the same way. We are learning machines too. We are learning. We're constantly absorbing information. And as she's practicing, the same thing with Clover. She is now doing the American states as a puzzle. I watched her the first time we did it. I did most of the puzzle. And I showed her every piece, and and this is where this goes, and check it out, that's where that goes. The second time, I did less than 50%. The third time, she pretty much did it by herself. Now, she does it speed. Speed is now the game. Oh my, I got this. I got this. And then she shows me where we live, and now we're learning different states. And so the progression of learning is fascinating. And little kids show that to us very, very easily. So give yourself that too. Give yourself that same ability. I do not believe in the saying that old dogs don't learn new tricks. I'm still learning Chinese, and I'm still learning new vocabulary. And then I haven't been there in 4 years. And I was sitting there and I was having a conversation with someone. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, it's in there. And sentences came back, full sentences that I had learned and not practiced in like 3+ years. And all of a sudden, I'm spouting out this sentence. I'm like, okay, that just happened. Or, for example, old songs, old nursery rhymes that I'm doing with the kids, or German songs that I'm revisiting. And all of a sudden, because I love to sing with my mom, she sings phenomenally. And so she likes the old Schlagers, the songs from the 60s and 70s, a lot of my German. And I'm just fascinated when I'm singing with her, and all of a sudden, all these words are coming back. I haven't thought of those songs in 30 years, and here they are. So give yourself credit that you are much better at learning than you think. Give yourself that confidence right now that you have many, many examples, just like some of those that I'm sharing with you here right now, that you have those for yourself as well. That you are learning so much more than you give yourself credit for, okay? And get that confidence. And by repeating it, by rehearsing it, by doing it over and over and over again, because nobody gets the phenomenal body by not going to the gym or walking every day or doing some kind of exercise. Nobody is going to get really good at playing the piano without actually sitting down and practicing the piano or the clarinet or whatever. Anything that you do really well, you have practiced, period. It's that easy. And that doesn't matter if you consider it good or bad, because even our limiting beliefs are just beliefs that we practiced. Wow, isn't it amazing? That makes me so happy when I can think like that. And I'm like, yeah, actually, when you really think about it, that makes it so doable. So please make a commitment to yourself today that you are going to look at some of those limiting beliefs that you have, and that you then flip them into positive beliefs that are believable to you, that are realistic to you. And just because you haven't been able to do it yet, if anybody else out there can do it, then it can be done. If anybody else out there has done it, it is doable. Then it means it's possible. Then it means it's just a matter of making the decision and then doing it and practicing it. So practice the kind of beliefs patterns through the thoughts that you're sending from your brain that are over time going to influence your heart, and make them powerful, beautiful belief statements. I'm always resilient. I trust myself. I trust other people. I trust the world. The world is a good place. My life keeps getting better and better. I can handle anything. God doesn't give me more than what I can handle. The universe got my back. And then you make belief statements about yourself. I am calm. I have peace of mind. I am trusting. I'm trustworthy. I bring value. I'm worthy. I deserve good things. Which ones of those resonate with you? Okay. And please make it a point to especially learn those. And you will find that over time, it becomes part of who you are. And you will be able to congruently stand there, and you will all of a sudden, in a conversation with someone else, hear yourself saying blah, 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 blah. And you're like, whoa, I just said that. Cool. That used to not be me. So give yourself at least 30 days, preferably 60, 90 days. We now know that it takes about 60, 90 days for the brain to turn new behaviors into default patterns. And then it becomes normal. I remember, and I'm totally outing myself right now, I used to call myself an idiot a lot of times. When I make mistakes, I would go, oh, I can't believe I'm such an idiot. And that just happened in my head most of the time. Sometimes I said it out loud, then I said it internally. I made a decision that that's totally inappropriate, that I don't want that pattern anymore. I don't deserve that, to call myself such names. And what kind of example am I setting by doing that? So I made a decision to change that. I did a bunch of processes around it. I made that firm commitment to myself that from now on, it's going to be different. And then I wrote other things down that I could say to myself. I practiced them. And anytime I caught myself saying those words, I laughed. And then I would go, oh, come on, that's an old pattern. We don't do that anymore. Come on, sweetheart, you got this. And then it happened a few months ago. Actually, it's now a couple of years, actually. It's been several years that that happened. I caught myself and someone said the word, and I'm like, oh, I haven't said this to myself in several months. I have not called myself an idiot in my head for several months. And that was such a huge aha of like, wow, look at that. Just by making the decision, by making the commitment, by putting some practice into place, it happened. And then it became my default. So I'm much nicer to myself now when I'm making this mistake. The other day, I was driving. I'm a very safe driver. And what happened was I was going into a little bit of a curve. And then I was messing around with the car setting and putting some comfort into eco. Then all of a sudden, my son says next to me, car. And I had not noticed that another car was also in the curve and that I had swerved over a little bit too much. And of course, I immediately corrected. And that was one of those moments where I would have called myself names. I instantly, of course, took a deep breath, sorry, I did that. And I immediately reframed it in my head. And I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this almost happened. Thank you, universe, for protecting us. And thank you for giving me this experience so I can protect myself and my loved ones and the other people in traffic, that it's preventing me from something that I might have done in the future. So when I do change the setting in the car, only do it while standing. Don't do it while driving. And that was a calm conversation that I had in my head. And I didn't fully go into the negative thought patterns and call myself names and freak out about it ultimately. So that was a total real example, just happened yesterday. And it's just one of many, many, many examples where I can totally tell now it is different because the commitment was made and then the practice was established. And now it's a different life. It's a different experience. It's a different reality. So that's the first thing that I want to offer to you today, that you are managing yourself. You can call it emotional intelligence management, where you are becoming more aware of your thought patterns. You are starting to construct them a little bit more consciously to then influence the energy in your heart, the feeling state that you're able to have, which over time will turn into more trust, confidence, peace of mind, gratitude, compassion, fun, passion, high vibration energy, bliss, joy, happiness, love. Totally learnable. Okay, so that's number one. Now let's talk about number two, our relationship with other people. How much do you allow yourself to receive support? And that's the thing that I noticed in my research, because what I realized is I can talk about resilience in 1,000 different angles. I can look at it from so many different places and so many different perspectives. How am I going to put this into a book format that gives my readers some great resources? And what I realized that I'm going to actually land on support. So the first thing that I just shared with you is all about the support that you give yourself. Now we're going to talk about support from others. How easily do you reach out to other people and ask for help? Hmm? I know that's one of those diseases that we have in this world, that people are so stuck on having to figure things out themselves and that they can't ask for help and that they can't share it. I just learned this wonderful saying. I mean, of course, it's an old saying and it's been reiterated again and again. The idea that a shared happiness is double happiness and shared sorrow is half the sorrow, right? So think about it, how willing, how able you are in those moments of sorrow or hardship to reach out when you need help. Just as much as how much do you reach out when you're happy and you want to share it with someone else. So think about it, of course, because we're talking about resilience, we're going to concentrate more on the hardship and the sorrow, the tough situations, the problems that we're dealing with. So who's your support system? Who are your peeps? Who are the people that you feel comfortable and confident reaching out to in those times when you feel alone, when you're sad, when you feel that you don't have what it takes? And I would like for you to, again, this is an assignment, if you choose to accept it, to make a list with the names of people that you trust and that you feel comfortable reaching out to. And those are, again, circles of people. There is your closest circle, your closest friends, people that you absolutely trust, that you can also have the crying on their shoulders or being your freak out self, and they won't judge you. They're there for you. And then you can extend the circle. There might be some family members that you trust, that you're confident with, that you can reach out to, who you know will support you. And then there is also the greater community. There might be some people at work that you can talk to. There might be some people in your neighborhood, in your community, online, in different arenas that you are interacting with. So think of those people that you would like to have a deeper relationship with and be more authentic with. And you can take off that mask of accomplishment and my life is just fantastic. And you're able to actually reach out and say, hey, I got this thing going on. Can I have a chat with you, please? Or, gosh, I really need some help with this and that issue. And it might even be some time that they need to dedicate, or that you need some kind of resources that you don't have, that they might offer to you. There might be some actual muscle that you need because something needs to be moved. So think about those times when you stuck it out because you didn't have the guts to ask for help and then you actually paid for it. I have enough of those, definitely, because I was too proud. That public persona thing, because I didn't want the world to know and because I didn't want to bother others, stuff like that. We're so over that, you guys. I really think that's one of the gifts that came out of the epidemic, that we had to learn to reach out more. So look at that list of 10 people or a list that you just made in your head and think about what it would cost you, your ego, perhaps your pride, being a little shameful, feeling a little guilty, all those words, and what it would take for you to actually go, you know what, it's totally worth it for me to reach out. And then also think about it. Would you be there for them as well if they reached out to you? Of course you would. So think about that give and take, that reciprocity between you and that other person. And I would like for you to think about examples in your life where you were delighted because you reached out to someone else and you got exactly what you needed. Think of some of those examples where you had the guts to ask for help and the help was given to you with ease, with grace, with kindness and compassion. And it worked out. So make a list of that. I would like to challenge you to think of at least 10 examples of those kind of experiences where you're like, you know what? I did reach out and it wasn't the easiest thing in the world for me to do. And you know what? It worked out and it worked out better than I could have expected. And I have many of those examples as well. Once I started to learn to reach out and not to be too ashamed or too embarrassed to say, hey, could you please help me with that? And then people totally showed up for me. So that's the second level that I would like for you to explore a little bit more, to help you to become more resilient. And again, law of attraction, it's the energy that you're sending out. I am worthy to be helped. I'm worthy of support. Say that to yourself right now. I am worthy of support. I deserve support. I deserve support. And everybody deserves support. Ah, doesn't that feel nice? Yeah, excellent. Ah, wonderful. So now, let's think of some things that you are dealing with right now. Again, health and well-being, relationships, finances, your work, your career, lifestyle. Where do you need help? Where there are things going on that you would thrive or do better if you were just to ask for help? Is there a project that you're working on at work that you've been biting through by yourself? And actually, if you just asked for help from someone else, and then it would flow easier. Or is there something in your relationship sphere where you would like to reach out for help from someone else? One of your community members or a family member? Perhaps there is something going on with your health and you need some help with that. Need a second opinion, need some resources. Check it out. How about lifestyle choices? Are there things that you can't do because of who you are and where you're at in your life and you would like some help with? So that you can spend your time with higher quality. You get more of an impact and you make more of an impact. Think about that. And how about your finances? Is there perhaps some advice that you need where you've been just trying to figure it out yourself? And actually, there are so many resources out there. Talk to someone. And there are experts who can help you figure things out. And there are resources and packages and programs and courses and seminars and amazing resources out there that might actually help you in your situation. So think about that as well. So make a commitment to yourself today in your thought patterns so that they can then influence your feeling state about, I deserve support and I'm willing to give support to others. I'm an interconnected being. I'm interdependent. We move from codependent to independent to interdependent when we can depend on each other in a beautiful, cohesive manner. So make a commitment to yourself today to work on that. And that you are going to change the energy that you're sending out into the universe. And you will be amazed how easy it will be for you to find people to help you and also find people that need your help so that you have this beautiful flow back and forth, this beautiful reciprocity between you and other people. All right, excellent. So let's do some stretching, some breathing. Blessed be, wonderful, wonderful. I'm so happy that we're doing this here together. And now we're going to go to the third level, and that is our higher power. God, the universe, the quantum field, the new sphere, the collective conscience, whatever you want to call it, the divine. source, the vortex, whatever your language is, you know what I'm talking about. It's that part that is bigger than ourselves. It's that which connects us all. It is energy, pure energy and potential. And how much do you truly feel supported by that? What is your divine relationship? And what is your health? What is your healthiness when it comes to that? And what is your wealth? What is your relationship? What is your legacy? What is your lifestyle when it comes to your connection with the divine, that which is greater than you are? And if it's not at a place of feeling so loved and supported and knowing that the universe got your back, then you need to change that and you need to up that. That's one of those quotes from Albert Einstein. The most important question we need to ask ourselves is, do I live in a friendly universe? And when I was growing up, I didn't, because I believed in a divine power that was not very loving, that was very wrathful and punished people when they made mistakes. And there were some ideas about different places we might go depending on the choices we make in this lifetime. You know what I'm talking about. We all have our own version of that. And then I grew out of it and I denounced that. No one have anything to do with that, you know, churchy stuff. And I like my shamanism and my Taoism, my Buddhism, and I'm finding my own religion and I'm gonna find my own spirituality. And now I go to different churches, I go to different programs, I go to different places of spiritual conduct and where philosophy is being discussed. I love the Tao. Actually, I got to spend some time in a Tao temple while I was in China, which was just, oh my God, it was so beautiful. That did so much good for me. And it was all about the rituals of putting out the incense, and then you pray to the different deities that are signifying the oneness, and then it signifies the male and the female, and then how everything else, the five elements ultimately, and then everything else springs from that oneness, which again, of course, is the vortex, the energy, the quantum field. And it's just a different way of expressing that and having these rituals of kneeling and bowing and putting the incense there and then having conversations. I mean, it was just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And it's the same thing for me when I go back to the church that I grew up in when I was a little kid, that I got baptized in, and that my whole family has been going to for as long as 500 years that we know of. And so there are so many places, nature. There are certain mountains that I love, that I connect with when I think of them or when I'm there. And the ocean, when I was in Africa in the beginning of the year, I sat at this ocean for hours. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been here for 2.5 hours, just sitting there, staring at the waves, following my thoughts. And a lot of times there was just that paying attention to the waves coming in, going out again. That is divine right there. That is divine magic right there. So it can come in any shape or form that you want. And how supported do you feel by that energy? Does this energy love you? Does this energy want you to do well? Does it want you to thrive? Is it friendly? And if it's not, please, please, please make a decision today to change that, because it's going to change your life. And it can only change it for the better. So make a decision today that you feel fully supported by the universe, that the universe loves you. The universe is a friendly and safe and beautiful place. It wants you to thrive. Look at a plant that is always thriving towards the sunlight, the little seed that wants to come out of the earth. That is how life is designed. It's to get bigger, it's to get better, it's about thriving, it's about blooming, giving that beautiful fruit to the earth. That's natural, it's normal, it's nature. And we're part of that. So give yourself that gift. And that would be my greatest wish for you today. If you're struggling with that in any way, shape, or form, that is what you get from our time here together today. That you are going to have a different idea and a willingness to step into that kind of a relationship with your divine self and with your higher power, with God. That your universe from this moment on is friendlier, more supportive, kinder, more compassionate, and truly wants your happiness more than you've ever imagined. And even those of you who are already totally digging it, and you live in a friendly universe, I'm going to challenge you to make it even better. And I'm going to challenge myself too, because I've been on this path for a long time, that I live in a friendly universe. No matter what happens, immediately all is well. It was meant to be. It's perfect the way it is. I'm at the right place at the right time with the right people. The right thing is happening. Obviously, it must be happening because it's happening. So those are absolute default thoughts. And that keeps me out of victimhood. That keeps me out of my old complainer self. Oh, poor me. Why is this happening to me? That I used to ask that myself all the time. Why me? God doesn't love me. This is a harsh universe. This is a harsh world. The life is not fair. I love that when people say that. I'm like, okay, this is one of those. I'm sorry, I need to challenge you on that. Do you really want to believe that? And do you want to carry that into the future? That life is hard? How does that serve you? So let me challenge you. Allow me to challenge you. And if that's the only thing that you walk away with today, that you're going, I'm going to rethink that a little bit. Perhaps it doesn't serve me. Perhaps I do want to change my attitude a little bit about that. I would love that. Okay. Got a deal? I love it. Yay. So, how we do it with the law of attraction. Again, we're using our thought patterns, we're using our feeling state, we're using those thoughts that we can repeat over and over and over again. The universe is a good place. The universe is a kind and loving place. The universe supports me. The universe wants me to be resilient. I'm naturally resilient. The universe is resilient. Oh my goodness, talk about adaptation and how adaptable the universe is. That's all we see around us, is a constant adaptation to what is. Yeah. And we're part of that. So give yourself that as a part of the universe, that you are naturally programmed to be adaptable and resilient. Isn't that cool? It's nothing you have to learn or attain. It is your natural birthright. It is part of your programming. It is imprinted in your DNA. Otherwise, we wouldn't even survive. We wouldn't make it if we weren't adaptable and constantly dealing with change and growing and thriving. And then it's our attitude that makes the difference in how easy we make it on ourselves. So you can do this kicking and screaming if you want to, or you do it with ease and joy, understanding, compassion for yourself and others, and flowing. That's one of my favorite words, is to flow. Just flow with it. And that comes from the willingness. So I would like for you to make a declaration right now that you're willing to increase your resilience by truly understanding that you are already naturally resilient, that that is your natural state. And then we just covered it up through our experience, the things that we were taught and experiences that we had. So let's uncover all of that again to go back to our natural state of resilience, of adaptability, being able to arrange ourselves through our thoughts, through our feelings, so that we just flow with everything that's going on in our lives. And we're doing this in our third step now with God, with the universe. Nice. I'm getting a beautiful message from someone I love very much. That's so awesome. Ding, that was the universe dinging right there. I love it. Thank you, universe. That's one of those moments I just have to smile, you know? It's like right on, just like my friend who texted me this morning after I dreamed of her last night. What a trip is that? Those are those moments, you guys, those synchronicities, those wonderful moments where you're like, oh, come on, you can't make this up. I love doing that with my sister. A lot of times we think of each other and then we text each other. I was just thinking of you. Oh my goodness, that's so cool. Those kind of things. Or you see someone you haven't seen in a while and you were thinking of them yesterday and there they are at a grocery store. You're like, okay, there they are. How cool is that? You're thinking of a concept and you find it in a book. You're thinking of something and then you turn on TV and there it is. Happens all the time. I find that fascinating. To me, that is the communication of the universe. That's the universe speaking directly to you because you are aligned. You're matching your vibration to that which you are currently creating, what you're currently attracting to yourself. And that's the universe loving you right there. So let's take that on right now. The universe loves me. My life just keeps getting better and better. The universe supports me in everything that I'm struggling with, everything that I'm currently figuring out in my life, everything that's hurting me right now, everything that I need to change, everything that I'm not happy with in myself, with others, with my circumstances, whatever it is. Ultimately, it will work out. Just keep saying that to yourself. It will work out. It ultimately will work out. All is well. And when I can maintain that state of mind, and when you can maintain that state of mind, trust me, you're going to flow so much easier. It's going to be so much more fun. It's going to be so much more joyful. You're going to have so much more energy. And then you will send out that energy into the universe more congruently and more aligned. Your thought patterns and your feeling state is going to be aligned and it's going out into the universe. And then you will attract more and more things, people, circumstances that are matching that vibration that you're sending out. So think about that for a moment, breathe that in. The first level is you supporting yourself with your own thought patterns. I can do this. I deserve it. I'm worthy of it. It can be done. It's possible. It's probable. I'm worthy. I deserve it. The second level is other people. I deserve support from others. I have support from others. Others love to support me. I love to support others. Think of that synergy with other people, that beautiful reciprocity, how we can all help each other, how we can be interdependent with each other. And that's the world that I'm dreaming of. And then the third level, having a deep connection with your higher power, with the universe at large, the quantum field. That when you imagine that you are just wave function, give yourself that for a moment, that you're just wave function, that all the physical fall away right now and just be wave, energy waves. And just notice how everything around you is also energy waves, how we're all connected, we're all one. It's phenomenal. And it stretches far, far out. My other granddaughter and I, we went to one of those starry night, going out to the lake with the telescope and looking at the moon. And it was so phenomenal to see her freaking out over the fact that she realized that she was really looking at the moon and she was able to see the details, the craters. I mean, it was absolutely spectacular. It was a wonderful telescope. And I was so happy for her because there was this little 7-year-old, just totally freaking out like, I'm looking at the moon. I'm looking into space right now, and I get to see this part of the universe that I'm all seeing, up there in the sky. And actually, right now, we have a very, very beautiful moon to look at right now. And to just be aware of that infinite space around us and that we're all connected. It's just phenomenal. So I would like for you to really tap into that right now, that connection with all there is. And there are no questions that you can ever ask which answers don't exist for. Every question that we're asking already presupposes that there's an answer. So give that to yourself. Make that part of your positive affirmations. That there's always an answer for any question you could ever ask. And when I think about stuff like that, that just makes me happy. And that gives me a lot of peace of mind and serenity and just that everything's cool. Everything is perfect the way it is. And it's always going to work out. Total trust in the past, the present, the future. One of the affirmations that I've been using, I'm going to finish with that because we are coming to a closure with our hour. Thank you, universe. You've always cared for me in the past. Thank you, universe. You're taking care of me right now. Thank you, universe. you're taking care of me in the future. So think about yourself, think about your connection with other people, and think about your connection with the divine. And then we create from the inside out, and it is as above, so below. And with that, I wish you a wonderful integration of the information that I just shared with you. I highly recommend that you're doing the exercises and you are following through with the assignments. I'm going to promise you that I'm going to do it myself as well. And I have my accountability partners that I will respond to, and I will also share with them that I'm doing it, because I can only learn and grow from it just as you do. So let's do it together. And I wish you a beautiful integration of the information I just shared with you. And I look very, very much forward to connect with you again. If you would like to share this recording with other people, I would very much appreciate it. I do want this message to go out to more people, because as many of you have responded to me, oh, we all need a lot more resilience, and this world needs more resilience. So that's why I've been dedicating these last couple of years to exploring more how the law of attraction specifically can work together with resilience and help us all grow in that level. Okay. With that, I say goodbye, my dear friends. Thank you so, so very much for being here today. And I'm going to see you soon again. Okay. Bye bye.